What's down, fam? It's your boy Slim South 504. Make sure y'all subscribe to Hoodie Jube. You heard me? Let's go.
What's up, folks? This is John Barnes, and you already know this shit more than a game, man. You also already know that it's NOLA versus all y'all. And you also know that it ain't YouTube if you ain't subscribed to my dog, Hoodie Jube. Come on, man, what are you waiting for? You already know. It's still Who Dat?
What up, family? This your boy The Right, repping that Who Dat Nation all the way here in Florida. If it's YouTube, you gotta subscribe to my boy Hoodie Jube.
What's up, world? It's your boy Carlos Clayton. I'm the host of Uneducated Sports Talk. Subscribe to the big homie Hoodie Jube for everything New Orleans Saints. Who dat?
Hey, this your boy, Dog 17, the host of the Keeping It Real Who Dat Sports Podcast. Just want to remind y'all, go ahead and subscribe to my homie Hoodie Jube's channel. And like always, love.
What's good, guys? My name is Zach.
And I'm Nonfiction, and we are Real Fan Sports.
And you need to stop what you're doing right now. Hit that subscribe button and subscribe to your boy, Hoodie Jube.
Hoodie Jube.
Yeah.
What's good, Who Dat Nation and Panther Nation? Yeah, I'm saying Panther Nation because we are streaming over here on the Black Cat Panther podcast as well, because we do have the Black Cat Panther podcast as a special guest tonight. We're going to be going over the Week 2 preview matchup against the Carolina Panthers versus the New Orleans Saints. So make sure y'all stay tuned and get ready, man. Let's get into the video.
You can't see us. Saints going to the Super Bowl, talking black and gold. Cameron Jordan on the field, about to take a QB soul. Ever Kamara break a tackle, so you know he bold. Mike Thomas catching everything, so you know he cold. He talking Byron Matthew, he talking Marcus May. We in the backfield, we gon' make them pay. Them boys hitting hard, they need an X-ray. Yeah. We talking black and gold. 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 Straight to the Super Bowl. Your time is up. Our time is now. Say Hoodie, you can't see us. Our time is now. Hoodie Jube in the building. We shining now. We shining. You can't see us. Our time is now. You heard me? Your time is up. Our time is now. You can't see us. Our time is now. Say Hoodie, Hoodie Jube in the building. We shining.
Here he is, Hoodie Jube.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Hoodie Jube, and we are back with another live podcast. And for those who don't know, y'all will know. There's no YouTube without your boy Hoodie Jube, y'all. I hope everybody's having an amazing night, because I know I am, and I'm ready to start talking some dang football with our special guest tonight, man. So we're going to be having the Black Cat Panther podcast on, and let's introduce one of the hosts, and that is my man, Q. How you doing, Q?
What's going on? What's going on, man? Pleasure to be here tonight with you. Pleasure to be here.
Yes, sir. It was glad to have y'all on as well, because like I said, I support y'all training over there. Y'all know football. I know some of y'all fans, whenever they start logging on in on your side, because I'm finally get to be back on here in front of them. Come on, man. What is wrong with some of y'all saying y'all don't want to pay Brian Burns, bro? This Who Dat Nation would take Brian Burns in a heartbeat. Y'all were tripping. We're going to get into all that too as well, because I heard Brian Burns had a good game 1 against the Falcons, trying to show everybody I need my dang money. But Q, man, if you don't mind, introducing some of the other hosts of the show, and we'll bring them on as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First and foremost, man, my right-hand man, the GOAT himself. When it comes time to talk Panther talk, y'all don't know better than the GOAT himself. He comes into you every Tuesday and Wednesday. This is my dog, man. So welcome to the stage, y'all. The GOAT. Also,
what's the deal?
What's up, GOAT?
Hey, hey, what's up, Hoodie? Hey, yo, y'all wipe y'all feet off, man. Ring the bell. Don't bring that bullshit up in here. Let's get it tonight. What's going on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Also, show love to my next dog, man. When it's time to get it popping off, he always in the mix. He always getting to it as he do. So, repping that Carolina blue, my dog popping off.
Man, what's going on, y'all, man? What's cracking? You know what I mean? We up in here. Shout out to Hoodie Jube. Hey, let's get to it.
What's up? What's up? So, anybody else coming on tonight, Q, or is it just gonna be y'all three?
Oh, it's just us. I meant to send it
Okay.
to. Hold on, it might be one more. One more.
Yeah. Is that what's his name? The other one that's always on y'all show. Forgot his damn
Uh,
name. Fucking
it's gonna
remember it.
be Panthers Germany tonight. Wiley.
Okay. Wally. Okay. Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
But I guess welcome to everybody in the chat, man. I see a bunch of people tuning on in. So who that and go Panthers to everybody, man. And there's one thing that I told Q a while back when I went on y'all show and y'all invited me and introducing myself. I told them and we all basically agreed on it. There's one thing that we don't like in our division, and that's the damn Falcons and the damn Bucks. Nobody liked the Bucks when they had Tom Brady. They thought they were going to the Super Bowl every damn year with him. And then the Falcons, that's just the rivalry team we always hated. But I kind of like the Panthers here and there. I kind of miss McCaffrey though. In the division, it used to be fun watching McCaffrey and AK go at it back and forth. But I know y'all got rid of him last year. But what y'all think? I just want to ask y'all a question. What y'all think of y'all new running back, Miles Sanders?
Whoo! You want this one, go?
Yeah, I might as well go ahead and get it, man. I keep telling them boys I think he's still hurt with the groin injury. Now, Miles Samuels, we couldn't keep Christian obviously because Christian was hurt. Then we got the injury bug bad right now this year. So if y'all gonna get us, you might as well go ahead and take advantage of us right now, like the Falcons did last week. I ain't gonna sit here and just and make no excuses or nothing, but y'all know we got the injury bug bad. That man had a groin injury, and I don't think you can handle. Some people want to say, "Oh, it'd be good in a week or whatever," but you didn't see him fumble the ball like that last year in Philly. So the guy's a home run hitter, man. He said today he was on Cart Talk. He said that loss was a tone to him, so he gonna get it back. So I like Miles, man. Miles is that guy. He's him. So that's what I think about it.
Gotcha. Because I know y'all had a few new additions, especially as a guy like Adam Thielen, and another guy, DJ Chark. Do y'all know any info on him lately? Do you know if he's gonna be able to make it to Monday night game, or y'all think he probably gonna need another week? Oh, you're on mute, Q, by the way.
Q, you muted.
My bad. DJ Chalk, knowing him and the way his body's set up, bro, he gonna need as much time as he can because that boy just ain't right. I didn't tell y'all that 100 times. The boy just ain't right. I'm not gonna get started tonight, Hoodie. I'm not gonna do it.
Well, us Saints fans, man, being able to talk to some, Panthers, podcasters, we just need to know from y'all, what y'all injuries looking like. I kind of know what our injuries are looking like, and just let y'all know about 8:30ish. Ross Jackson, our Saints reporter, is gonna pop in here. Come talk to us, give us some thoughts on the game, and give us some injuries, updates and stuff like that. So we'll be able to ask him some questions about some Saints injuries around 8:30ish, and he'll be here till about 9, to talk with us. So just I guess to go back to the Panthers, a lot of people was telling me about the injury that y'all just put one of y'all guards, I believe, on IR. Was it y'all starting left guard or something that went on IR?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brady Christian.
And was he like a veteran? Like he was like or was he like one of the new additions?
No, he's a new addition. This is his second year there. A lot of people didn't even want him to play guard, to be honest with you. And then there's some people that wanted him to play outside of his position. But either way, no matter how they feel, I think he's done a excellent job from where he's played and how long he's played with the solidified front that we had last year. And we thought it was only going to get better, but unfortunately, like Goat said, we got hit with that injury bug, and it's contagious at this moment.
Hey, I understand because I don't know if y'all was watching them Who That Nations the last 2 years, man. We've been dealing with a lot of key injuries, especially to some key players, especially last year too. If you think about it, Jameis Winston got hurt literally in the game one, tried to fight through injury through the first 3 weeks, and then after that, we just took him out and told him to heal and play with Andy Dalton, the rest of the year, which didn't turn out too good for us. Lattimore, got hurt mid-season and was out for 10 games, so like there's a lot of injury buds going all over the place, especially this year too. I don't know if anybody noticed all these big names going out right now with all these injuries, and it's kind of crazy. And now the NFL is going off on them. You see all the NFL players all on Twitter tagging the NFL saying, "Come on, man, put grass over here, man. We got a lot of turf injuries, So I'm hoping they will make a change.
One of our problems.
That's one of y'all problems.
Main problems. Yeah, they're putting the coach on the spot. They're putting players on the spot when they're having these interviews. But at the end of the day, they don't sign off on the stadium field and conditions. It's one person and one person only, and that's David Lemon Pepper Stepper Tepper. It's up to him. He's the billionaire. He's the second richest owner. I don't understand why he doesn't make that adjustment. But, hey, if he really wants this team to win, then he'll invest on grass so they can stay healthy and so we can be competitive. But a lot of these things that have happened to these guys have not been because of the turf. I think some guys are overworking themselves. I call them gym rats. Y'all know what I mean? And then some guys are just are not working hard enough. So when they finally get out there and have to go 100%, then they pull something. So it's a couple of ingredients put together that's having a sabotage. And then some things are just freak accident.
Because I know one of the injuries too that like one of a good it's not really one of the best, but a lot of people are complaining about it, especially in Panther Nation on Twitter. I mean, everybody's getting mad right now about the JC Horn thing, because and just to let y'all know, Who That Nation was one of the we were one of those teams that, and one of those fans too that was like, hey man, we need to jump up there in the top 10 and get JC Horns. We wanted to get a guy like that, but we couldn't. Y'all took him, and we're like, damn, we wish we could have had JC Horn, because the receiver Joe Horn, which is his father, used to play for us, and it would be cool to have him. Well, now we're noticing him being injured, and here we go again. They said he's gonna be injured and probably be out for a couple of weeks. So, what is y'all thought on JC Horn? One of y'all good corners.
Well, hey, Hoodie, I'm gonna take that for a second, man. Now, y'all was supposed to jump ahead of us and take JC, what you just alluded to. Okay, Then also, there was another Panther that you guys were looking at, and we supposed to jump ahead of y'all despite y'all, and that was Terrence Marshall from LSU. Okay, Ironically, both of these guys have been injury prone for us, or hurt, or just haven't been available. Now, I'm going to tell you this right here, and I'm going to write a letter, and I'm going to make sure we do not jump in front of y'all for another damn player. I promise you. Because y'all can have it. If y'all was supposed to get it, y'all can have it. Because it seems like that ain't working for us, bro. You understand what I'm saying? That's not working for us. If we try to
big
jump
mistake.
in front of y'all again, that'll be 3 strikes, and we'll be out. So we ain't jumping in front of y'all for another player. I promise you.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta realize, one team that jumped in front of us before, a while back ago, remember, was the Chiefs, because we was gonna get Patrick Mahomes, but they jumped ahead of us, and I guess it was a win-win for both, because they got Mahomes in the long run, won a few Super Bowls, but we got Lattimore, one of the I say top 5 corner in the league, so it kind of worked out. So if we would have went with Mahomes and they wouldn't jumped us, we would have got Mahomes, and then somebody else would have grabbed Lattimore. So I'm glad to have Lattimore, but you also think you had too, like, damn, which we could have a Mahomes on the team, right? But
I know you have Mahomes.
I know that's everybody. Anybody would take a Mahomes. But speaking of quarterbacks, we're gonna go over Derek Carr and stuff as well. But I wanted to ask y'all, what was y'all thought on Bryce Young? First game last week.
Damn, Hoodie, you did it already.
I'm sorry.
The rookie came out. I will refer to him. He hasn't earned his name from me yet. The rookie is what I'm going to call him. He came out and he rooked all over that field. So one, let's not panic if you're a Panther. He first of all, he gave us a sign of stability, but it's like he made rookie mistakes, bonehead plays over and over on the same exact play across the middle to Jesse Bates. And I'm sitting here looking like, bro, uh, Frank, what the hell? With more reps, this young fella would have known better than to make that same play over and over, trying to make that throw right in front of Jesse Bates of all people. You get the cat that's you put him halfway in Honolulu already. He already almost made a Pro Bowl off of one game. So it's rookie mistakes that was made. The coaching then turned around and said, okay, we're going to correct this. Instead of the first time they sent across the middle Hayden Hurst and it didn't work. So the second time they sent Terrence Marshall across, and I'm like, bro, are you kidding me, bro? This one play, scrap the entire play, bro. Scrap it. You should have leaned on this run game, which would have had your young rookie more protected, and tried to make a throw across the field, across his body like that, when they were basically predicting Bryce's movements was not the smartest play. And to do it twice in a row, no, sir.
If I could chime in,
Yeah.
because it wasn't all bad. It wasn't all bad. I did see some confidence in him. I seen him wanted to find a big play. But with that learning experience, Atlanta can say that they welcome him to the NFL, and I hope that this is just the beginning of him getting that shit out of his system, seeing how fast the game is. Now, really respecting the NFL and the players that are here, because this is the best of the best. Don't think these guys don't know what you're doing or haven't studied your tape. You're giving them 3 to 4 years of watching you. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's college, you saying they still watch some of your and tendencies. So at the end of the day, it's done, it's over with. I think he's gonna come back and do a lot better. Um, he's already in Honolulu. He's already there. He's in a kayak. he's out of here. But those who've lost faith in Bryce, I think it's too early to sit here and say, "Oh, he's a bust. He's this." Man, it's his first NFL game experience, y'all. Okay, playing in a treacherous somebody's backyard. You understand? So it's hard to go get a win somewhere that we haven't gotten a win in 6 years. So let's put some, let's put some stats on that. You know what I mean? That's stats in fact. We haven't won in the Mercedes-Benz. So we can't expect this one man with these broken down players to go do it all by himself. He just has to be more smarter with the ball.
Yo, you wanna chime in on that or?
I think they said it all though, Hoodie. Shoot, man. There it is.
But I guess since y'all covered Bryce Young, I guess I'll tell y'all what I thought about Derek Carr in our first game at the Saints. And just to let y'all know, who that nation is. Sometimes we can go a little crazy and overboard on Twitter when stuff ain't working right away. They want everything to happen.
Talk about it. I got a question for you. Yeah.
Talk
about it. I got a question for you.
Yeah, you can pop it. If you want to.
Nah, go ahead. I want you to get through Derek Carr. I'm gonna wait till after you finish with Derek Carr, and then I'm coming right back to you. Go ahead, brother.
Okay. Yeah, so with the Derek Carr situation, like I said, a lot of our Saints fan was going off on them, probably before halftime, wondering why this ain't clicking on Derek Carr ain't that, and then in the second half, they started loosening up on him. It was like, okay, cool. But when I went back and I rewatched the game, and even Nick Underhill, which is one of our top reporters as well, him and Ross Jackson went back, rewatched it, they looked at it, and they said, look, I got to give Derek Carr more credit for that game, because they said, when I went back and looked at it and looked at the stats and everything, he said he did really well, because if you look at it, which I'm going to put up right here on the screen for y'all, this is what Ross Jackson, who's going to be on later with us, he put that the Derek Carr was under pressure on 17 out of 38 passes, so 44.7%. So about 45% he was on his dropbacks, he was being pressured. And they said how he performed under pressure. Well, he completed 8 out of 13 passes, so he completed about 61% for 169 yards, 6 first downs, 1 batted pass, 0 drops. So he had a 105.4 passer rating under pressure, which is really good, because when you think about it and you listen to a guy that used to play against him on the Chargers named Joey Bosa, in that interview that he got asked a while back, and he was like, yeah, the way to beat Derek Carr is to put pressure on him. You put pressure on him, he's going to throw picks all day to you, and he actually got pressured almost half of his snaps on dropbacks, and he did really well and succeeded. So, I think he did well. And if y'all really want to eat this weekend, just tell Brian Burns to line up on the left side against Trevor Penning, because he allowed 4 sacks from that side that's easily letting people through. And then in the second half, we finally made adjustment to add help to that left side, to help him from getting sacked and pressured so much. With helped us push the ball down the field a little bit more, got into the end zone finally, with Rasheed Shaheed. So I think Derek Carr did pretty good. It's like we said, it's his first game as well, so he's still getting his chemistry together. The O-line still got a long ways to go. But so far, I am impressed with Derek Carr so far.
So you're impressed with him?
Yeah, so far.
You was impressed. Oh, okay. That's some good praise. But other than you, I've heard a lot of Saints calling for Jameis Winston. I know you heard it too.
Yeah,
How
I seen
you feel
it
about
on,
that. Was it too early?
Too early. Definitely too early. But I love Jameis too, though. Remember, I don't know if anybody remember watching my stuff from last year. I was a Jameis, lover, man. I still support Jameis. I wish he could still been the starting quarterback, but we gave up. They went with Derek Carr, and he's still here as our backup. So I think Jameis would have did good as well. But I did tell people a lot of this. I said, for the way Derek Carr performed under pressure, I don't know if Jameis would have did the same. Because when Jameis is under pressure, he definitely just be kind of chugging it and just going with what he sees, and kind of goes with what he thinks. And I think he kind of would have messed up in that game. But we do have Saints fans that said, he would have did just as good as Derek Carr. But I don't know about that one. I mean, that's just my opinion, though.
Hoodie Jube, they in your ass in the chat. They on your ass for that one.
I want to break down. I want to break down Derek Carr a little bit more.
Got around Hoodie. They got Derek rated at 15. That's middle of the road. I mean, middle of the road, a mid quarterback. Where are you going with a mid quarterback?
We're definitely gonna go to that playoffs, and we might even make it to the Super Bowl. We got to eat.
Here we go with that shit right there.
Go.
All right.
He's always been a mid quarter. But he's always been a mid quarterback. That's the thing. I mean, Hoodie know that. Hoodie's not gonna sit up here and lie.
Goddamn Super Bowl now. And the gloves are off. Here we go.
Hoodie know he's somewhere in the 15 to 18 range as a quarterback. That's
my man say. My man say 69.7% accurate. 69% accurate on that comment. Oh, bro.
For the whole game, was he 69.7% for the whole game? I bet you he didn't hit 70%.
No,
I bet you he didn't hit 69% for the whole game. I bet
you
did.
For the whole game, he was
one INT. You were good
23 for 33.
Here we go.
It was what?
23 for 33, and I think 305 yards.
So what was his percentage? What was his passing rating? What was he at? His QB rating for the game?
Let me tell you real quick. I gotta look it up on ESPN though. Hold on.
But
to me, I think he did.
Very few.
To me, I think
very few that hit 60%. Just saying, there's very few that hit 60%.
I think his passing rating was 60%, but I don't think his QBR was 60%.
That's what I'm saying. What was the QBR?
I'm looking at it right now for you. All right, so his QBR was 62.6, and he had a 96 rating.
Okay. So he did what he had to do.
Yeah, that's enough. Good enough to win you a game.
But
enough to win the game.
Like I said, his power ranking is still just like Pop said, anywhere from 15 to 18. That's mid, Hoodie.
But
that's mid now.
That's who he is though. Like nobody's gonna take away from. Bro, he has one thing we all do. We do respect Derek Carr because Derek Carr has a lot of accolades, a lot of yards. He's thrown for a lot of touchdowns. Quite a few interceptions, but he can get the job done. But it just shocked me, like I said, like you said on Twitter, how they were calling for Jameis Winston so early off the very first game and on a win. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah.
So
and I think a lot of people was calling for Jameis like at halftime, just because we're down 9-6, But like I told people, you still got to get your chemistry together with Carr. You still got to get that O-line toughened up because that O-line did not do good for him the whole game, basically. So everybody's hoping that we do better this game, find a way to protect them a little bit more. Because if not, you might be calling Jameis halfway through the season because Derek Carr might be hurt if he keeps getting hit, and keep getting pressed. That's something that you don't want.
2 words for you, Brian Burns, and he coming off that edge. So I hope you understand, Trevor Penning, Pete. I don't give a damn if it's Texas Pete. You better find who you can to hold up on that opposite side, because Brian Burns gonna be in your ass if you don't get it together. I hope you know that.
Well, see, Q, you already throw the Saints on the grill. Let's slow cook them a little bit. Hold on.
Slow cook them? All right, Bubba. I'll sit back.
Our running back fucked up. And he called it out and said, hey, trust me, we gonna come in with pure confidence and I'm going to make it up to y'all. We going to see. I think he's a top-tier running back. But how do you feel about your running back?
My running backs, last game we didn't do good. We ran, I think we averaged 2.5 rushing yards. But I will say, and I will give it, 2.5 yards per carry. But I do want to say something about that, though. We did go up against the number 1 rushing defense from last year in the Tennessee Titans, who has a great running defense. And they usually can hold people to about 70, 80 rushing yards easily because Jeffrey Simmons, Tate up the middle, they really great. Then he added Key on the end. He was the one that put most of the sacks and pressure on Penny, side. So, like I said, if you just line up Brian Burns on that side, we might as well devil teams, add a tight end for help, add a fullback, do whatever we got to do to help Trevor Penning out because his side is the weak side, and that's the blind side too. That's the side you really need to protect Carr because that's his blind side. So I think our run game, though, I think we can get better this week, hopefully. Like I said, we don't have AK because, he is suspended for the first 3 games, so we'll get him back for week 4, though. So right now we're going to be working with probably just Jamal Williams. Don't know about Kendrick Miller yet. He did return back to practice today, was limited. So they said they don't know what he's going to be like. So if it's not him, you're probably going to see a lot of this Jamal Williams. You might see a little bit of the Taysom Hill packets like we did. We used him maybe like 7 times.
I wish Taysom Hill would come out there and run that ball.
You want him to come run out there?
He would. I want him to come out there and run. Please let him come out there and run.
I can put him at.
Have you? I know you've heard of Brian Burns, but have you heard about anybody else that lines up on that D line?
Yeah, Derek Brown. I think he's very underrated.
Good. I'm glad you don't know anything about our Joker.
And your Joker,
like the Atlanta Falcons said, they got a Joker. Then they found out he was injured. But we got a true Joker though. Yes, sir.
So what's his name? Who's the Joker on that team?
We call him Big Oos.
Y'all can
call him
Luvu.
Okay.
Yeah, we call him Big Oos. Y'all can call him Luvu though.
Oh, you're not familiar with him, huh? No.
Is he like a rookie or is he a veteran that came over?
Oh, okay. So let me remind you of 15 tackles, 1 sack, a forced fumble, a defensive touchdown, and it was all against the Saints last year. I don't know if you remember that game where your boy Back got thrown out, Mr. Winston, and maybe you don't remember that game where Frankie Louvu took it over. You don't remember that?
I think he went down for that's the fastest defensive touchdown ever in NFL.
No, you don't remember him? Number 49?
Number 49. No, I don't.
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you, the man, what he got to do? Score 2 defensive touchdowns for you to remember?
Yeah, no respect. No respect.
None.
No, they don't give. If they ain't got a B in their name, they don't respect them.
Yeah.
You said that since Kamara's not there, now who you said is gonna be toting the load?
Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams, the league's leading touchdown getter. Him and Keandre Miller, because he got a hamstring issue, but he might be back in. The boy from TCU, Keandre Miller.
Yeah. Well, I know Jamal Williams came from the Lions for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He ain't the same one though. He ain't the same. Promise.
He a little different. That's all I'm gonna say. He a little different.
He's a little different this year.
Mm-hmm.
Last year he was at the Lions, and I mean, yeah.
He tore it up. He ain't start off on a good foot this year. So if he doing 2.5, 2.9, and Jube coming in there getting 4.9, 5.2s. Hey, look, it's a big difference.
By the way, we do have our Saints reporter as well, Mr. Ross Jackson, weighing in the back. So let's bring on Ross Jackson while we have him on here, before we can ask him some questions about some injuries and stuff like that as well. So let's welcome Mr. Ross Jackson, man. How you doing?
What's up, y'all? What's good? How's it going?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on?
What's good, fam?
What's going on,
What's
Chief?
good?
So, Mr. Ross Jackson, man, I wanted to ask you this up front. Kendre Miller back at practice. Does it look like maybe he's got a chance to make it Monday, or you think he's still going to need time?
We got 4 days before we even get to Monday, man. Let's see how he progresses over the course of it. He was limited with that hamstring injury. We'll see if he ends up being able to continue to progress throughout. But I think that if he's available, like if you see him go limited on Friday and then full on Saturday, or even limited Thursday or Friday and Saturday, there's a chance that he gets out there on Monday. I know they would love to have him out there. Yeah, we're just talking about Jamal Williams, who's like down, by the way, big time, from like 230 something pounds down to like 217. So y'all were talking about him being like different this year. Like the whole point around Jamal Williams is for him to be different in this New Orleans Saints system. But taking 75% of the snap load, that's not necessarily what they want to have for him. So getting a guy like Kendre Miller out there to help split up some of those snaps, I think that would end up having a big impact on what Jamal Williams can be on a more persistent basis.
So Mr. Jackson, was it part of their plan for him to lose that much weight to come into the run the system?
I think
because
so.
That's usually
Yeah,
not the same. Like for instance, Chris McCaffrey, they asked him to put on weight for his size and for him to be that bruiser back. So and we know how the running backs are getting treated in the NFL. They're not getting their type of money they want because they're getting banged up and things of that nature. It's kind of weird for them to say, "Hey, lose 15 pounds," because what you did last year. How do you reproduce the same type of numbers being 15 to 20 pounds lighter?
Yeah, I don't think they brought him in to reproduce the same numbers, though. I think that would be short-sighted of them to do, because it's an entirely different system. He's being asked to do entirely different things. They're asking him to do more of what he did in Green Bay than what he did in Detroit. Like, the goal for Jamal Williams wasn't to bring him here to New Orleans and have him score 17 rushing touchdowns. The goal was to bring him here into New Orleans to be a change of pace back and really to kind of be a guy that they could kind of rely on down in and down out, but then have Alvin Kamara go back to being the change of pace style. So Jamal Williams down 12 pounds or 13 pounds, whatever it was, for him to be able to run between the tackles, that doesn't diminish, right? Like, his talent is still there to be able to do that. They used to rely on him in the clutch, which you saw. I mean, he fumbled, but he was able to recover it in order to be able to seal that game against the Tennessee Titans, all that kind of stuff. So I think that, yes, it was a combination of two things. First of all, the first piece of it is that, they wanted him to be able to contribute in a bunch of different ways, including getting back to being a receiving back, like when he was the change of pace guy with Aaron Jones with Green Bay. And the other part of it is it's hot in New Orleans, right? And so you're practicing in the heat and everything, and like you're losing weight like constantly. These players are. And so I think that some of that was that he took some of that weight off and then kept some of that weight off, which I don't think was a bad choice. But I don't think that New Orleans brought him here to be the touchdown leader in 2023 like he was in 2022. They brought him here because of what he can contribute on the football field and how that complements Alvin Kamara.
Well, you got to also think about it from this perspective. He's leaving a top offensive line over there in Detroit and coming over here to you guys. And what you said last week, they kind of struggled with the protection out there. So, I mean, his numbers is definitely going to be affected by this, because I'm looking at him. Can he really hold it up until Alvin Kamara come back? Because he's not that type of guy, like you say, to be running between the tackles. Now you asking him to be a scat back. This is going to be interesting to see.
No, that's not what I said. What I'm saying is that he is still being asked to run between the tackles, and him being 13 pounds down from his playing weight from last year doesn't impede him from being impactful between the tackles. He'll still be asked to do that, as well as run an outside zone here and there and be a pass catcher. They're asking him to be a more multiplicitous back, as opposed to being like a one-dimensional back that's only going to be out there in short yardage situations and things like that, which doesn't mean that he won't be asked to be out there in short yardage situations. They just want to ask more of him. So that's why they got him down to your usual standard running back rate across the NFL, as opposed to the heavier back weight across the NFL, if that makes sense.
Okay.
That's all. That's what it is.
So they're going to run him in the dirt, is what I took from that.
Well, no, because remember what I was also saying a second ago is that getting Kendre Miller back allows you to be able to expand a little bit of that role so that instead of him carrying the ball or being even on the field for 75% of snaps like he was last week, that probably balances out a little bit more because you have the change of pace back. And then once Alvin Kamara's back after just 3 games, which if you run a running back into the dirt in 3 games, there's something terribly wrong with your offense. It's not just that running back at all. Like if somehow 3 games outdoes your running back, then that probably wasn't a very durable running back to begin with. And so what I'm looking at instead is that instead of him playing 75% of snaps, going back to Hoodie's question around how does Kendre Miller impact, he ends up taking, instead of 75% of the snaps, he takes maybe 60% of the snaps, while a guy like Kendre Miller, Kirk Merritt, and some of the other guys that maybe they elevate on a game day roster with standard game day elevations, all these other things, ends up getting probably around like 40% of snaps. Then once Alvin Kamara comes back, then you're getting a little bit more of like a 40% from Jamal Williams, 40% from Alvin Kamara, and then 20% from a guy like Kendre Miller and others. And so I think that's really what you're looking for. So I don't know, maybe like that's running a quarterback or running a running back into the dirt in like arena football, but it's probably not in the NFL. Asking a guy to take somewhere between 40 to 60 snaps is usually a pretty light workload, as opposed to guys like Nick Chubb and Christian McCaffrey and all these other guys that push 80, 85, 90% of their snaps.
And the TC running back, he's dealing with a hamstring injury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he also came into the NFL with an MCL injury, so a lot of little nicks and bruises and things like that to continue to monitor to him once he does get back out on the field.
Got you. Okay. All right. Hey, look, this is some different philosophies that I'm not sure I've heard before. But hey, if they make it work. I mean, he's going to have to run between that line and see what he got. I mean, 15 pounds is 15 pounds. Especially when you're carrying most of the load.
I think
your backup not there.
Yeah, I think it went off.
Especially when you're the guy that comes in behind you is dealing with some injuries, and the main guy, Kamara, not be able to come into 2 games from now. He's got a workload, really let out for him to pound it and get those first downs, those gritty, 1 or 2 yards. So it's going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah. 217 pounds is 16 pounds heavier than like Jube Hubbard, everything like that. So like and it's 5 pounds heavier than like a Miles Sanders, right? So you can see the comparison between like a Miles Sanders and a Jube Hubbard and how effective that 1-2 punch can be for a Carolina Panthers offense. That's kind of what you're also looking at in maybe a little bit more of an expanded pass catching role, but it's kind of the same thing that you're looking at for New Orleans. Like you're probably not going to run Jube Hubbard between the tackles 80% of snaps, right? You want to be able to change it up. You don't want Miles Sanders to be doing that either. So you kind of want to be a situation where you're kind of changing that up. I think that's what you're looking for, how New Orleans wants to utilize their backfield.
Did you watch the Carolina Panthers game versus the Atlanta Falcons?
Yeah, a couple times.
What did you think about Jube?
I would like more Jube in their offense. Like if I'm if I'm a Panthers fan and I'm looking at them, or if I'm a Panthers analyst, I think Miles Sanders took more snaps. I can't remember exactly what the snap share was. I'm sorry, but I know that Miles Sanders took more snaps, got more carries than Jube Hubbard. I'd like to see that get a little bit closer. Jube Hubbard was one of my favorite players in his draft class. I think he's an incredibly talented back, but I do think that he's a little bit more of a tone setter, while Miles Sanders, even though he's heavier on paper and all these other things, I think he's a little bit more of that change of pace. And so I think establishing a tempo with Jube Hubbard and then breaking those tendencies with Miles Sanders could go a really, really long way for a Carolina Panthers offense. And it kind of measures up to what Frank Reich has done in the past with some of his running backs. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see that. But that's my thought on it. Like if I'm the Carolina Panthers, I want more Jube and then mix in more Miles Sanders.
And Ross, you and Julian did a good job yesterday. Well, I think that show aired today or yesterday. One of them, because I know it came out late that night. But y'all did a real good job, man, with the between the two teams yesterday.
Thank you, man.
That was a real good show that y'all did yesterday on that
Appreciate
Locked On
that.
Network. Y'all are doing real good with the Locked On Network, man. Keep it up.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you so much. Yeah, Julian's my dude, man. I think he's so good, and he's one of those guys that like I jump on a microphone with him and he just makes me better every step of the way. So like he made me better in that show. I hope I challenged him, made him better in that show. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was very insightful to match up for the Monday
Awesome.
night game.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
So
What else
Ross,
can I be helpful with, guys? Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, so I got some questions because I got the Carolina Panthers. I got some podcasters over here.
Yeah, I love it.
You joined in right at the right time too. They trying to pick on your boy. You trying to pick on our Saints, man. So I gotta have a little bit of backup with me. But I know they just messing at the end of the day. And sometimes they can be serious as well. Because when they were trying to pick on Derek Carr, right? They were trying to pick on him because you remember probably like halfway through the game, you had people saying, "Oh, we need to put Jameis Winston in, or we need Jameis Winston." You had a lot of people.
No, I did not know that.
You didn't see that? Yeah. People. No. I see some people on Twitter. They're like, "Man, Jameis could have did the same thing. Man, Jameis had a better opener as a debut for the Saints than Derek Carr did." All kind of stuff was going crazy. But yeah, we did have stuff like that, and I was trying to explain to him, with your post that I shared earlier about him being under pressure almost 50% of the snap and still performing at a very good level. What was your thoughts on Derek Carr, and do you think, if the O-line can improve, especially Trevor Penning on that left side for his blind side, if that improves, I feel like his numbers are going to get even bigger and better. I was shocked he even got 305 yards in that game, being under pressure that much.
Yeah. I mean, look, let me say this first. Like, I'm happy to talk about Derek Carr and evaluate his performance, but nothing that I say about Derek Carr it should be directly correlated to anything having to do with Jameis Winston, right? One of them is a starter, one of them is not. You focus on the guys that are on the field. Jameis is a fantastic backup for them to have, somebody that knows the system, somebody that can be that quarterback off the field, somebody that can champion these guys, all of this stuff. You love that. But that's the roles are different. The responsibilities are different. So when I talk about Derek Carr here, the last thing that I want is like, well, Jameis, blah, blah. It doesn't matter, right? Like Derek Carr is a starter. Derek Carr is who I'm talking about. So when I look at what Derek Carr did, there's ups and downs, just like with Derek Carr in the past and just like any quarterback. I think these guys would probably say that they saw ups and downs from Bryce Young too, right? I mean, and in his first NFL action, that's gonna happen. And so I think that when you look at Derek Carr with his first action in this offense, I thought he performed well. I thought he did well under pressure. He was under pressure for 17 dropbacks, completed 8 of 13 passes for over 160 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. The interception that he did throw was one where he actually had time, and it was during that 2-minute drive toward the end where he told us after the game, he was like, it was a dumb decision. I got too happy. I got too confident. I was making all the throws, and then I tried to force one in there, and it was stupid, is the way that he said it to us in the post-game presser after the game. And stuff. So there's just a lot of accountability when it comes to Derek. So I think that that's great too. But look, I think that the thing that separates the New Orleans Saints offense from where they are now versus what they were trying to get past is what they can do pre-snap now. Like they have a much better mechanism pre-snap to be able to identify what's going on, ID, and then make adjustments. They can call 2 plays in the huddle again, and then have him go out there, give a kill call, make that kill call so that they go to that second play, whatever it might be. You actually saw that once or twice during this game. So I think that and where the Saints have had a lot of trouble against Carolina, because let's not get it twisted, they've had a lot of trouble against Carolina over the course of the past couple of years, especially when they go to Mint Street. There's a lot that they do pre-snap over on that defensive side because they have a massive amount of talent in that front. And one of the things that the Saints have struggled with against Carolina is identifying where pressure is coming from. I think they did a better job of that, surprisingly, against the Tennessee Titans. It's just that the Saints lost their matchups on the offensive line. So you can ID it all you want, but can you stop it? Can you get in the way? Can you keep the pressure from coming? So I do think that look, when a quarterback's under pressure, they tend to not perform as well as they do when they aren't under pressure. So that's kind of a given that if the offensive line performs better, so too will Derek Carr. But the fact of the matter is that no matter what the offensive line does, Derek Carr has to be able to perform. And I think you saw an example of that last week. A little bit rougher in the first half as opposed to the second half. The Saints were sacked 4 times. I think it was 10 hits. I can't remember how many hits on the quarterback it was, 8 or 10 hits on the quarterback. And then they also had 3 or 4 tackles for a loss, if I recall correctly, that Titans defense. But most of those and all of the sacks in particular happened in the first half, not in the second half. So you saw the adjustments necessary. They're going to have to make adjustments again. They've got Brian Burns. They've got Frankie Louvu. They've got Derek Brown. They have a lot of really talented defensive pieces on that Carolina Panthers defensive line. So expect them to probably struggle early on in the game, the offensive line, but then can you adjust? Can you get better? Can you improve? And then can you solidify over the course of the game? That's going to be the difference for New Orleans. Oh, and a run game, right? Like not averaging 2.6 yards per carry will probably help.
Yeah, definitely. And I think the one thing that's gonna help us, succeed, especially against, a good pass rush, is kind of go back to the offense that we used to do when we had Drew, right? When we had people getting pressure on them quick, just get the ball out quick. And that's one thing that, I think that the Saints do have a little bit of advantage over right now over the Panthers. It's because they're DB, especially with J.C. Horn going out again and not being there. They short another corner. So with the receivers that we have and a guy like Chris Olave, you got our speedster, Rasheed Shaheed, who can break the defense down the field if you need him to. And then you get in Michael Thomas back. He's healthy still. A guy like Jawan Johnson, that you still have as a tight end that they got to watch out for. So I think we can easily get the ball out into the people's hands quickly, especially, I know Panthers might say it, slant boy, because Michael Thomas runs slants all day, they say. But don't forget, he did open the game up with like a 25-yard go route, not no damn slant. So I just want to call that out too, by the way. But I think
that was when Julian gave me grief on that one too during the crossover episode. Yeah, and I was like, he opened the game with a 25-yard go route. Get off my porch. No, I hear you.
Yeah, so I think the Saints do have a good opportunity to like try to get away from all the pressure, coming up front. Just get the ball out quickly like Drew used to do, and then once you figure out the way to stop the pressure from coming so much, try to adjust to that. Then you can start opening up your playbook a little bit more, going deep down the field like we were, against the Titans. When in the second half, we finally started figuring everything out, how to give Derek Carr more time. And once we gave him more time, we started doing more bigger plays, down the field. And I think we can do that because, like I said, I think our receivers are really talented, and I think our receiving core can easily beat out their DB room, especially with no J.C. Horn now. But I would like to hear from y'all, from the Panthers, what y'all think of that? What you think of y'all DB room?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look, we was letting y'all have y'all family reunion over here. It's one thing. Look, you guys had 69 yards on the ground, rushing, and I keep hearing about this Russian attack that's going to come through, slice us up. My man just told me about what he projected his team to go, especially on the ground. 69 yards against this defense that you guys got. How do you think you're going to fare, Mr. Ross?
They have to do better. If they don't, they'll lose. I mean, it's that simple, right? Like they have to be better than that, and they have to be a team that's able to develop a run game. They weren't able to do that against Tennessee Titans front, and I think a lot of that comes down to I think what you're hearing a lot is, oh well, the Tennessee run defense is really good. They were number one in the NFL last year. All that's true, but you can't rest your laurels on that and say, oh well, Tennessee's front was really good. Carolina's front is slightly less good, therefore they'll run for more yards. That's not the way that the NFL works, right? Like you have to be able to scheme up a run game. You have to be able to create a run game. And so, yeah, no, you're right. Like the Saints have to be better on the ground. And if they're not better on the ground, they might lose. And that it comes down to it because look, I mentioned Brian Burns. I mentioned Frankie Louvu. I mentioned Derek Brown. If you give them the opportunity to be able to just pin their ears back and go after the quarterback, then that's their dream come true. Don't play into that. You have to be able to develop that run game. How do I think they're going to perform? No idea. But what I do know is that if they do better than they did against it, well, let me rephrase that actually. They have to do better on the run game on their offense against the Carolina Panthers than they did against the Tennessee Titans if they want any chance of winning this game and not dropping a third straight at Bank of America Stadium. It's a must for them to develop a run game.
Right. Go ahead, Pop.
My bad, kid. I know that you watch both quarterbacks for your team and Bryce Young, and y'all have a top tier secondary. I will give y'all the respect. I believe in y'all secondary, and that's because Black Cat Panther Podcast, we are scholars of the game, especially people that's in our division. We give respect to whoever is actually deserving of it. If you was Bryce Young, what would you tell him he should watch out for going against your secondary?
I think the big thing is that, so the Saints play sides, right, as opposed to shadowing and everything like that. So you know where Marshawn Lattimore is, you know where Paulson Adebo is, you know where Alontae Taylor is. The biggest thing is going to be understanding the disguise of the safeties, right? Like what they're showing you pre-snap versus how they roll out post-snap. And I know it sounds really basic, but it's a big thing.
Not safety again.
Yeah. So that ends up being a big piece of what it is that they do. And so I think that when you look at, if you're Bryce Young, first thing that they have to do is all the stuff that Hoodie was just talking about in terms of getting a quick passing game for Derek Carr. They need to make sure that they have something like that for Bryce Young too, if nothing else but early, to help him build some confidence within those first 15 scripted plays, right? Like, let him build that confidence. The receivers were not great for him last week. Start to build the rapport between him and the wide receivers in particular, all of that. The next piece is going to be diagnosing what's happening pre-snap. So he has to understand where pressure is coming from, and he has to understand exactly how those safeties are going to roll, whether they're in their big nickel, which would also be called like a Buffalo set, whether they're in that two safety set, or whether they're in that single high set. Who's staying, who's going, who's coming, who's leaving. Like, those are all the things that he's got to be able to diagnose. And then after the snap, he's got to be able to see it all play out. So it really comes down to the vision and understanding the disguise. If he can start to figure out exactly what the disguise is going to look like against this defense, then things will slow down for him a little bit more. He'll be able to find those open pockets, all those other pieces. And then if I'm Frank Reich, and if I'm the offensive play caller over in Carolina, I'm doing crossing routes over the middle of the field as much as I can to try to combat the heavy man approach, the press man approach that the Saints will have. And so that's going to end up causing some congestion, clutter, stuff like that over the middle of the field. Now, that means that Bryce Young has to anticipate and know what to see as well. He's got to know his spots to throw to, as opposed to going for the receiver himself. But if they're able to do all of those things, they can give the New Orleans Saints secondary some trouble. The issue is that the Saints disguise super well and put a lot of focus into their disguise. And then you have to know where the pressure is coming from. That's part of that disguise as well. So when they come in with like the Okie fronts and stuff like that, to where you have a bunch of linebackers, 3 defensive linemen, and 2 safeties up on the line of scrimmage, you're having to guess who's dropping out, who's coming, who's blitzing, who's dropping back, and who's bailing out, like all those other things. So that's going to be the biggest test for him, is that Bryce Young, how much has he seen of what a defense like what New Orleans disguise-wise can do, and how quickly can he get accustomed to it to the point where he can break it down and attack it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Which isn't impossible, by the way. Like, I don't mean to make that sound impossible. I just mean, like, that's what the task is going up against this secondary.
Yes. Look, I got a couple questions for your offense. And I'm looking at it. 305 yards, 69.7%, and you only get 16 points on the board. How does that happen? I noticed turnovers. Yeah. So, what do you expect to see from your boys this week, man? Can they clean that part up?
I don't know. They have to. Again, like, I'm not here to tell you what they can and can't do, but what I can tell you is what they need to do and what they would like to do. And 16 points isn't going to cut it. And if really, like, go back to the end of last season, while the New Orleans Saints defense has been on this franchise record tear of allowing 20 or fewer points over the course of the past 9 games, 10 out of the last 11, they've rarely scored more than 20 points themselves. And they've lost a lot of those games where they've held the opposing offenses to under 20 points, including the Carolina Panthers at the end of the season last year, when Sam Darnold played like one of the worst quarterback games we've ever seen, and the Saints still lost that game because they couldn't put points on the board. So this is a big issue for New Orleans, is being able to actually cash in and not rely on field goals. You're not going to win games kicking field goals. Last week was very evident of that. The New Orleans Saints were the only team to score a touchdown in that game, and they won while the Tennessee Titans kicked 5 field goals in that game. So you have to be able to put points on the board, and you have to be able to cash in the end zone. So this is a big thing that New Orleans is going to have to get better with, and that they're going to have to figure out. Some of it is self-inflicted wounds, backing themselves up, kind of a 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of a situation for them a couple of times last week. Other pieces of it come down to, inability to be able to turn red zone possessions into scores. Although I think that some people would argue that one of the ones that they didn't get should have been because of the touchdown that might have been to Rashid Shaheed over on the left sideline and things like that, or the right sideline, whatever it's called, what it is, you have to be able to win regardless of what it's called. And so I think that becomes the next thing. Can you cash in the red zone, which the Saints didn't use a lot of Taysom Hill. They didn't use a lot of Jimmy Graham last week. Will that change this week to help them out in the red zone? Didn't really target Michael Thomas in the red zone. Will they do that this week, which will help them in the red zone? Things like that. So they have the weapons and the pieces to be able to do it. They just have to be more selective about how they attack in the red zone to be able to cash in on those drives.
Well, bro, I'm looking at y'all box score, and I see 3 interceptions. But once again, I go back to it. I only see 16 points. Not capitalizing off of interceptions and takeaways. And then your quarterback come out and throw an interception just as fast as you get the ball back. Are you worried or concerned coming out here against our defense? Because I get it, we don't have one of the most tenacious defenses, but you got to be worried a little bit, being that you get 3 takeaways and you don't get hardly any points off of them.
So, it's not my job to worry. It's the team's job to worry, right? That's not
I
what I'm here
got you.
for.
I got you.
But when it comes down to the team and what it is that they need to do, yeah, they have to be better. I mean, like that's basically the idea of what I'm saying here. Like I'm not here to tell you that the New Orleans Saints are a team that are going to come in and like steamroll the Carolina Panthers. By all intents and purposes, they should. But will they? I don't know. Like they have to be better. They have to develop. You know what I mean? They have to develop a run game. They have to be able to come in and actually score points off the turnovers. They need to not turn the ball over themselves, which, look, they opened the game with a turnover. Like, damn the interception. Like, they opened the game with a fumble on the kick return that immediately put the Titans in the red zone, basically. And the defense held from that, right? And that's one of those things that I think, like, you look at this New Orleans Saints defense, that can make all the difference when it comes to it. But I mean, you know, are you going to be worried about a team? No, probably not. And the Carolina Panthers on the other side shouldn't be worried about the New Orleans Saints either. They should be focused on what it is that they need to execute. And I think that that's where the New Orleans Saints are the team with the veteran quarterback and the more experienced defense and all these other things, and leaders in the defense like Cam Jordan and Tyrann Mathieu and Demario Davis and Marshawn Lattimore and so on and so forth. Like those are the guys that help you be able to understand, hey, these are the things that we need to execute regardless of who's lining up across from them. Their focus has to be on their own improvement. And so I don't think anybody's worried about anybody, and if anybody is, then they're losing the game. The fact of the matter is that they have to come in and be better than they were last week. That should be the Carolina Panthers goal as well.
Well, Ross, like you just said, that's great. That's great to say, but I mean, it comes down to this. Like you just said, turnovers killed us last week. Everybody know that. But this is the thing right here. If you can't, I just told Hoodie, your quarterback power ranking is 15 to 18, and he didn't get it done in the red zone. And we know this is a quarterback-driven league. The quarterback can't get it done in the red zone. That's the problem. And the turnovers. If we can't be worried, we were going to be worried a little bit because we lost that one in Atlanta. Then going into we home, we got another divisional game. But if our quarterback cleans it up, he's a rookie. But Derek Carr is a turnover machine at some point, and he can't get it done in the red zone. So us being a younger team like that, and we can make y'all make mistakes and capitalize, like Q was saying, you turn it over 3 times, you get the ball 3 times, and you don't come up with 16 points. I mean, that evens the playing field, even with a veteran quarterback. But he can't get it done in the red zone.
Yeah, I suppose if all of those ifs do happen, then that would be true. But that's not really like the evaluation, right? The evaluation isn't if this happens and also if this goes their way and also if this goes their way and also if this goes their way. It's how do you manage adversity, right? It's not about like you're absolutely right. If the Saints can't cash in the red zone, if they turn the ball over, if Bryce Young, I think the phrase you said was cleans it all up, which is like it's a lot of things, right? Because he's a rookie quarterback and all that. If the young team does, yeah, you're right. If all of those ifs happen, then 100% Carolina Panthers win 40-0. But that's not football, right? Like football isn't if this happens and if this happens and if this happens and if this happens, then this happens. Football is when this happens, how do you respond? This happens, however this happens, therefore this happens, right? It's a series of events and it's a series of moments. And so if you're looking at the team that took advantage of its moments in the last time that they played, right, in terms of the Saints against the Titans, the Carolina Panthers against the Atlanta Falcons, the Saints did a better job owning their moments than the Carolina Panthers did. So again, if that happens again this week, then sure, the Saints win, but it's not that simple, right? So the thing that what you're trying to really get to the crux of here is, what do you do if you're the New Orleans Saints? And if you're the New Orleans Saints, you're not looking at it and going, well, we struggle in the red zone, so I guess we'll just punt on the 30. That's not the way that football works, right? Like you still have to.
It's definitely going to come down to who prepared their better within the time off. Other than nominating Lattimore, Hoodie and Ross, who would you say is going to be the MVP for the New Orleans Saints game?
That's gonna be hard.
Hey,
Because
look,
there's so
that's
many
kind of
different
how
people.
life is.
You know what I'm saying?
Are you-
Because saying so many people can go off at any moment. Like
Oh,
Lattimore
then
had
that
a
means you
good
got a lot of
last year.
choices. Cool.
Because he went off last week. Debo got a pick for us. Marcus May got a pick. DeMario though last week had 10 total tackles. Had a quarterback presser. Might have had a half a sack too. But like DeMario, I think was maybe it was out of him and Lattimore last week that I would say MVP because Lattimore
No.
did.
I'm talking about for this. I know early prediction for this game. I'm sorry when you go against the Panthers. My bad.
And
I should've
no,
did
you're
that.
good. And are you specifically talking about the defense, or did you just pull Lattimore out for?
It doesn't matter. I
doesn't matter
I
either
just
side?
pull Lattimore out because that's
Cool.
like the easiest like way to go. I mean,
Okay.
he's top tier. Like the crazy thing is,
Right.
like if
Yeah, I hear what you're
if JC Horn would have stayed healthy,
man.
that's a if so you got to think about it. You got AJ, you got Terrell, you got Lattimore, you had
Carlton Davis is over there in Tampa as well. He's really good. Like
Carlton Davis, and then you got our cornerback hurt, but you really had top like 5, top 10, top 5 shutdown corners, bro. So that's why I try to eliminate that. JC Horn is not in that no more. Sorry, that's just how I feel. I'm just being honest. But
that stinks too.
I figured I would take out the easy one and see who else y'all would elevate to that.
Yeah, I think personally, if the Saints win this game, then I don't know. I feel like this is just kind of. So I was gonna say Derek Carr, right? Like Derek Carr would be the reason, or would be the way.
That's
but
fine.
but
Go with Derek
yeah,
Carr.
is that too easy? Okay, yeah, because I think like if the Saints win this game, it's because Derek Carr has the game that you need him to have, and there's a lot of things that go with that: the offensive line, the run game, pass catching, all that other stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I think that like this is a game that has the ability to go the way of the quarterback for both of these teams, and so I would elevate those quarterbacks into that conversation personally.
I like that. I mean, Ross, one thing you got to understand is that we wanted Derek Carr here.
That's right.
This
Yeah,
not a podcast that doesn't know what's going on. We're in tune. We wanted Derek Carr. We didn't want another
As a
Sam
bridge,
Darnold.
we wanted him as a
We
bridge.
didn't want PJ.
I think what I was thinking, y'all gave him the 4 years. I think Carolina wanted to only offer him 2 or 3, and I think it was more of the years than the money situation. So we wanted him here as a bridge, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm not
MVP?
making assumptions that anybody's disrespecting Derek Carr or doesn't want Derek Carr or anything like that. I just didn't know if like choosing the quarterback was too much of a cop out. You know what I mean? Like that.
Nah, that's not
was
cheesy,
on
bro. That's cool because I mean he's a leader. He's a leader, bro. I mean, no matter how much shit talk people may say, he's a leader. I mean, you can't take it away from him.
Hey, I can't give y'all a dark horse MVP if he performs at a high level this game, and that is the rookie defensive tackle Brian Breesy, because last game he had about 20. Was it 20 or 25 snaps? I think it was, and he put a lot of good pressure. Had a half a sack. Had a good amount of quarterback pressure. I think he had 4 quarterback hits or 2 quarterback hits, whatever it was. So
he's
pretty
angry,
good.
bro.
I was gonna say y'all in Carolina, y'all probably got a real opportunity to see him quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well,
We
he's
got
angry,
a lot of Clemson
and we got to match that.
Yeah, he's from Clemson, so yeah, we saw him a lot.
Yeah,
he's angry. He plays with a lot of intensity. We just got to match it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
We've
think
been
that
watching
ends
him
up
scout
being
him before he came out.
Yeah, I think that ends up being like a key battle in this game. Are the if we're looking at Saints defense versus Carolina offense, is the defensive interior versus the offensive interior. Look, when you have a rookie quarterback, you want to get pressure right in his face, right? You want to get pressure right up the middle. And so that's going to be, I think, a big time, forgive the phrase, but like battleground, if you will, as an area to really try to upset whatever Carolina is trying to do timing wise and move Bryce Young off of his spot, all those other things.
Hey, I guess we can hit y'all with one of the same questions that y'all, hit us with, right, Ross? So let's hit them with one back real quick. So I know they asked us earlier, should the Saints be scared, right? should Derek Carr and them be scared, and should we be scared of the Panthers, especially with Brian Burns, Derek Brown, Luby, like they were saying, we all should be scared of those type of guys, especially a guy named Brian Burns, because this man's hungry for a paycheck and he's trying to prove everybody wrong and say, hey, man,
he ain't
pay
getting
me.
no check.
I don't know why the Panthers don't want to pay him. I already went on accusing him and talked to him about it too. I said, man, the Saints will pay this dude in a heartbeat. I mean, Saints fan would take him because we need another edge to go alongside Cam Jordan. I would love to have Brian Burns.
Well, Hoodie.
But
If I were to be real with you, if you sign him, that's your intent to win right now. And we're not quite sure if the intent is to win in Carolina right now. So let's just be a whole 100. Let's be 100 with it. From what I'm getting from them right now, after they claimed the deal was Bosa was the holdup before. After Bosa signed, the pressure came on Carolina. Okay, let's get it done before the first game. I looked at this thing and I said, if they don't get this thing done by the first game, the price goes up for Brian Burns. So it's not smart for them to keep holding out. The longer they do, the more his number goes up. So then I look and I said,
maybe though.
Think about it. Maybe. Your first game, you come out and you dominate. If he get 15 sacks plus, if he get 15 plus sacks, if he had 12 and a half last year.
I know.
Barring injury,
if he goes out there and gets hurt, he's done.
Come on, bro. Come on. This Brian Burns we're talking about. Barring injury, if he comes out and 3-4 stand up this shit, bro. Let's be real. Let's be real. He gets sacks. I don't know if you don't know him. Maybe you have seen him.
You bringing up Q.
Yeah, I think like all that's true. Like, yeah, like he has an opportunity, and I like what Goat was saying, that he's betting on himself, and I think that's the way to look at it. His price doesn't just automatically go up. Like he's got to produce in order for that price to go up. He's got to be able to stay healthy.
Well, of course, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. You know, of course, if he supplies you 15 plus sacks, you got to look out. You're going to be talking almost close north to Bosa numbers. And the Panthers are sitting back looking at it saying, oh, okay, let's sit back and look at this season. If we start off slow, do we keep him for the full season? I mean, if we go 0-5 or something like that, or if we drop a couple of games, do you seriously think they're going to throw money his way? Nah, they're going to say, let's head into the future. Have any
pressure to do it either.
Yeah, well,
you know what, bro? I think one thing
look at the situation we
agree with.
Yeah, if you go back and just bet on numbers, I mean, every year he's improved. So he got 12 last year. Who's to say he can't get 15 this year? If it was me,
who's to say?
Smart money, I bet on him.
Yeah, I think it's worth betting on him, but I would bet on him before he produces that, as opposed to sitting back on it.
Exactly.
But the other thing of it too is that, like, what I'm talking about in terms of in season is that the more that he comes, I mean, he already came out and said, look, I'm not gonna miss any games, right? And so him coming out and saying, oh, I'm not missing any games, that's all his leverage that he had in terms of negotiating power in season for the rest of this year. That now is done. So now it's got to come down to he has to prove to them that he's worth a certain amount of money by the end of the season, everything like that. And if I'm Carolina, I'm riding that train for as long as I can, and then I'll address that when I go there, because I have the rookie quarterback, right? So I can be a little bit more selective afterwards. The Bosa contract at the beginning of 2023 looks one way. It looks an entirely different way at 2024, 2025 when the gambling money kicks in, when the TV deal money kicks in, all of this stuff. Yeah, if I'm Carolina, I'm like, you want the truth, playing all the games, and I'm going to wait, and then I will address this in 2024. I'm happy to do that.
You want the truth, Ross?
What I just spit? Sure.
I got it. That's your truth. I'm gonna give you Panther truth now. I'm gonna give you Panther truth. If they don't come out, look, the moment that he decided to come out to play, that was a wrap. He's already executing his 5th-year option, so he has to come out and play with the Panthers. He's putting on his best tape forward for anybody else who could be his best suitor going forward for another team. So, I mean, this is what this is. This is him putting on good tape for somebody else. That's just me being real with you.
That could be a way, but I'm just saying, if I'm Carolina, I'm not letting that happen.
But look. One thing, Q, check this out. Ross is agreeing with this. Ross sees that this is a supply and demand. You don't let that type of talent walk out the door. So Ross is not disagreeing with what we're saying. He's just saying it doesn't make sense to the fact that they're here at this point, and neither do we agree with it. Like, why are you here at this point? This should have been something that was locked up before we even came into training camp. I don't know why they played around, because look, we let Hassan Reddick go. I mean, all these different players that we let go for no apparent reason because they said they had a plan. And then the 3 picks that we were gonna get from him in the future, we didn't take because they said he was in our plans. He was part of the staples of the defense that we weren't gonna let go because there wasn't no staples on the offense to keep any damn way. Am I correct, Ross?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
this
exactly
doesn't make sense. If the man is asking for $30 million, which we all agree on Black Cat Panther podcast, and now Ross agrees as well. Pay the man.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
man. You have to pay him next offseason. But pay that man. Pay that man.
Yeah. Hit his PayPal. What? Hit his Venmo. The man needs his check.
Hey, like I told them on there, I would take him in a heartbeat. I know Saints Nation would too. But Ross, let's hit him with the question now because they asked us, about Derek Carr being, being a turnover machine sometimes, 1 interception. Should we be worried about that? Now let's flip the question to them. Are y'all gonna be worried playing against a Saints defense that's fired up, that got 3 turnovers on the Tennessee Titans on Tannehill, and y'all coming off a game of a rookie quarterback that's new to the game as well, that drew 2 picks to the Atlanta Falcons, and just remember their secondary and their defense ain't as, I don't think they're as good as the Saints, not as loaded as the Saints. So y'all be worried and have to clean up and stuff like that to, make it by too.
I'm gonna go last on that question. I want to hear my boys go.
I get that right now.
Come on, Hoodie Jube. This Tannehill you talking about?
But it's Bryce Young. It's the rookie. So, I mean,
this is Tannehill you talking about, bro. They never trying to replace this cat. How many quarterbacks did them taking his spot already? Come on, bro.
None. That's the crazy part is 0.
Go ahead, go.
0 have taken a spot already, which is wild to me.
That's true. But who do you ask the question? And I'm gonna answer for you. I keep it 100. I'm worried, and simply not because of the quarterback and the defense. I'm worried because we're getting ready to start 2 interior linemen, a rookie and a guy who never got over in K Mays. So that interior line of ours, I'm worried about that.
Okay.
What you gonna say?
And we were talking about injury, so that's what I'm worried about now because Brady Christian with the bicep tear, whatever it was, I'm worried now.
I'm not. I think that more Chandler Zavala as well as Cade Mays could hold on the fort for a couple of weeks. I mean, Austin Colbert is set to be back in the next 2 weeks or so. So therefore, he'll be back to gain his spot, and Chandler Zavala can, slide back over. So all we need him to do is bend, don't break on the offensive line, Cole. I mean, come on, bro. I don't see one guy that's gonna be super dominant Sunday. That's gonna come off the edge and just wow all of us. I mean, do y'all have that one guy that's gonna come off the edge and be dominant like that?
I mean, your best bet is Cam Jordan, right? He's your best bet.
Yeah.
He's a monster. That's respect. I respect Cam Jordan.
Yeah, and
I respect Cam. I respect Cam Jordan.
But like, he's probably the one that makes the most sense to call out. I do think that the Saints do. I think it comes down to scheme a little bit too, right? Like, I don't know how up on stunt protection and game and stuff like that Chandler Zavala is, because he started on PUP, right? For a little while, So like,
he got hurt doing preseason.
He had a pictorial. He had a pictorial for a little while.
So I think that's probably more so the thing would be the scheme as opposed to individual player or name. And then I don't know, Carl Granderson, somebody that's really, really good. But
this guy right here,
it's Carl Granderson.
Yeah, this was his stats from the last game.
But I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying in terms of like
the back half. The back half of your defense is a lot more scary than the interior front 7 to me, and this is just me personally looking at it.
Yeah.
Because when you got the guys that you guys have assembled at corner and safety, I know good and well that Bryce Young isn't going to fool any one of those guys. And so if you guys are wondering the best way to attack it, we're gonna run the ball. And the plays that you see Bryce made, which was look, first of all, we can't make the same mistake twice. Let me put that disclaimer out there. You can't make the same mistake in 2 games in a row, Bryce. So don't test that safety, because I don't think Marcus May is the guy that's going to be, you should throw out and look out for Lattimore as well. But I think we should run. Hopefully everything will open up short and underneath, and as well as you're gonna see probably a lot of slants and reverses because I don't see us going too far over the top with you guys. That's just me being, a little bit honest on that.
If I can chime in, that's why I don't think this is going to be a high scoring game. I think it's going to be a very low scoring game, 17-14. Who comes down to who makes the mistake and they capitalize on it. I think that we're going to be a lot of heavy running, but I think what you have to do to get some of these secondaries off their pivot is do a mesh concept. And that's where Frank Wright was supposed to be his specialty. Get the rub route going. Get these guys off of where they anticipated where you're supposed to be. Cause a mishap when you run across the field, crossing each other routes to get these guys open, because we don't have the most elite fast type of players, but we have several possession type of players. So you put them in those positions in open spaces by using the mesh concept. And that's where I think that we could survive. That's a quick throw out here, quick throw there. And then that's when you can kind of open up if you want to hit them down the field with a big play. Coaching is going to be very big on this one. I'm telling you guys, coaching is really going to be big. It doesn't matter what nobody says. It doesn't matter what your running back does. You have to scheme to perfection on this one, because this is how top tier this game is. It's going to really become down to the sidelines. Who's saying what and who's executing. And that's why this game is, I think, it's going to be probably one of the most watched games this weekend. Well, after this weekend is done.
They got 2 games on Monday.
Monday Night Football helps.
Yeah,
but I think you're right. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing Frank Reich against Dennis Allen, right? Like, that's offense versus defense. Like, that's kind of just in terms of like what their strengths are, right? Like, that's going to be a lot of fun to watch personally.
Yeah. I think one thing to touch up on just real quick too. I want to see if Ross Jackson agrees with me or not. No, I don't know about the Panthers or not. But the thing that I wanted to ask Ross Jackson too, I told everybody this on my podcast before the Titan game even started. I said, depending on how our defensive line, remember this all new, not all of it, but most of it's new. You got Breesy, Saunders, Shepard, you got Capacino coming back. So you have, newer people. No more Davenport, so you got Granderson back out there again. So your defensive line looks different. And I told everybody, we have to somehow, the only way to beat these Titans is to hold a guy like Derrick Henry, who is probably going to be one of the most powerful, hard-hitting running back that you're going to have to stop from getting 100 yards. And I said, if we can hold him to 100 yards and the other people just a few yards, I think we can maybe be okay. Well, this New Orleans Saints defense set that tone for themselves, because we held Derrick Henry, one of the best running backs in the league, to 65 yards, and the whole team combined, I think they got 104 yards. That's pretty impressive to hold a guy like that. So I think if our front seven, you want to call it, can hold up against the run game again, just like that, and hold, Miles Sanders and Hubbard to about, 40, 50 yards apiece too, I think the Saints got a pretty good chance, because then that would make it just like what Tannehill did. You got to let Tannehill beat you. So it would be like Bryce Young would have to beat us then, as long as we stop that run game.
Yeah. I mean, that's right. You eliminate the run game, you force them to be one-dimensional. Then your pass rush can pin its ears back, get after the quarterback, and your secondary can sit back and then try to ball hawk. And yeah, I mean, like, that's a game that the New Orleans Saints want to play. That's been their MO for a long time, is eliminate the run game, make them one-dimensional, make them pass, to be able to take advantage of that, because you're going to have more mistakes in the passing game inherently than you're going to have in the run game. But I will say that the Saints defense was aided in terms of their, I wouldn't call them dominant against the run against the Tennessee Titans, because the Titans just kind of inexplicably stopped running the football when they didn't need to at all. Like, they got away from their run game far, far, far too quickly. Like, if I'm a Tennessee Titans fan, or if I'm a Tennessee Titans analyst, that's the thing I'm harping on all week this week, is why they get away from the run game. We watched Mike McDaniel do the same thing all year last year with the Miami Dolphins. Like, why are you getting out of the run game when it's a one-score game, or while you have the lead, or whatever it is? We talked about that with the Saints last year. They did that a couple of times and things like that. Like that game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that they blew the lead in Tampa. They got away from the run game when they were protecting a lead. everything like that. And so Carolina can't aid the Saints defense in the way that Tennessee's offense did. Now, there's a big difference between how effective an offense can be running with Derrick Henry and how effective an offense can be running with not Derrick Henry, right? No matter what that other running back is, no matter what that team is. And so Carolina, the biggest fault Carolina can make is aiding them in getting away from the run game. But yes, ultimately you're right.
We did it last week.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Because like they were still in that for a while. And so I think that, that's got to be the big thing. And so, yes, the Saints have to eliminate or neutralize the run game as best as they can. And if they do those things that you mentioned, Hoodie, then yeah, they're going to be in a better position to win the game. But that would mean that the Saints run defense takes a big step forward this week, which would be a welcome sight for anybody who's a Saints fan and for the New Orleans Saints themselves. But you want to be careful about sort of, what the expectation is over the if of it all, right? The expectation should be that the Saints will have to perform better against the run in order to force Carolina to abandon the run.
Yeah. And then I wanted to ask the Panthers, so any of y'all got any other questions for Mr. Ross Jackson, whatever? Because I just realized, because I was going to go live a little bit longer because the guy behind me, his internet wasn't working, but he went live a few minutes ago, and I just realized it. So I was going to cut it up and end the show shortly.
See how respectful my man Hoodie is? He's like, somebody else going live. Let me give my audience to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? That's dope. That's awesome. So that means everybody in the chat, when we wrap up, y'all have to go over to the stream then. You have no choice.
So, any you got any questions for Mr. Ross Jackson for this game Monday?
Mr. Ross Jackson.
No, sir.
Ross, just keep pounding.
Got him.
That's it. That's all I can.
Got him.
Keep pounding, brother.
Yeah, it is.
I'm sure we'll see you again. We'll see you again. Please, it was a pleasure.
Oh yeah, real pleasure, guys. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for the friendly banter and the great questions. Like I love being able to come through and be able to help out.
Before we head out of here, Mr. Ross Jackson, if you don't mind, I mean, everybody in the Who That Nation should know, but Panther Nation might not know where to follow you at, on your channel as well.
I don't think Panther Nation wants to know where to follow me, man. I cover the Saints. They don't want to. No, I'm just kidding. The thing that I love about Carolina fans is that like they want to know how the other teams in division are doing. Like they do. They're awesome. Yeah. They're okay.
Gotta know your
calm down. Dang.
Nobody get on your butt.
No, I love it. Yeah, y'all can find the Locked On Saints podcast free and available wherever you get your podcasts. I'm right in the same family as Julian, who does the Locked On Panthers show.
Julian Council,
yeah, my boy. So yeah, y'all can find that on, just search Locked On Saints on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find all the written work over at Sports Illustrated Saints News Network. And then everything's on I'm just going to keep calling it the app formerly known as Prince, because I don't know what to call it these days, but you can find it. That's Ross Jackson, NOLA, NOLA.
Gotcha. But thank you, Mr. Ross, for coming on. And like I said, it's always hard to get you on because, you're a busy guy now. Cause I remember you said.
Thanks for your patience with me, man.
You got that new opportunity, right?
Say again?
Job.
Yeah. No, that I've been doing WWL for like a year and a half.
Okay. I think you had like a new opportunity or something like that.
No. But I appreciate
make sure y'all run Ross Jackson up, man. Make sure y'all run him up, man. Let him know that, hey, even though he's a Saints fan, support him though. All right.
I appreciate y'all.
Who that to you, Ross?
Back at you, bro. Appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you. So Q and Goat, and popping if y'all want any say any last words or whatever, and tell this Who That Nation, man, where they can find y'all at as well. Like I said, we all might be in the same division. We all might come here and talk shit and ask a bunch of questions about our teams. But at the end of the day, it's football, and that's one thing I love talking about. And it doesn't matter what team you support. It's always fun to talk football with anybody. So respect to y'all.
Yes, sir. That's Black Cat Panther Podcast right here on YouTube. Also on our second platform is PSF, Black Cat Panther Talk. You can find us on either one, Pro Sports Fans app, or on YouTube. That's Black Cat Panther Podcast, man. Come on over, like, subscribe, show us that love. We like to call it wiping your feet off on the mat. So like the video and show us that love.
Ring that bell. Ring that bell. Subscribe over there. We also have other sister channels as well. Mud Inc. Outlaw TV. If any of y'all like ATVs, motorcycles, any kind of car racing, Mud Ink Outlaw TV. We got Station 88. That's a lot of NCAA over there. Panthers Germany. We got a German podcast, y'all. Go on over there to Black Cat, man. We got it for you.
Yes, sir. As well as J Issue Show. So yeah, show us love.
Show them the love. And for any Panthers fans that are watching, man, this is, Hoodie Jube. I do Saints podcast, but like I said, it's fun collabing with everybody in the division, especially when we play each other. So we definitely gonna try to, catch up again, maybe come on your show next time, and we'll collab again, and we'll do it after the game, just to kind of do a recap over everything and how we think, our teams perform against each other and stuff like that. So if y'all want to find me on YouTube, just come search for the Jube, hit the sub button, come support the channel as well. Because I already know me and the Black Cat Panther podcast is definitely not done talking to each other, because, like I said, it's just mutual respect, especially in the divisions. And, we all can say one thing: screw the Bucks and screw the Falcons. So
no doubt.
But so who that everybody and her, they're saying keep pounding. And we'll catch y'all later after Monday Night Football. We'll do a recap on everything. So catch y'all later, man. Peace.
All right.